choo, the big train is coming down the tracks. Choo, choo, the big train is coming down the tracks. Stop. Look. Listen. Stop.
It's a typical day in New Hampshire. 2-year-old Tyler is trying to talk.
A done train? Good job.
Robbie's reporting for work with a new sense of purpose in life. Jocelyn plans to buy her own home. She's saving some wages each week. And Janet gets out of the house to relax. The good life is here for the taking, if you stay on top of the game. I'm Eliza Hobson. I work here in Portsmouth, New Hampshire for the Quality Outcomes Project. It's a statewide group which is designing ways to keep track of the quality of life of people with developmental disabilities. We want to make sure they can exercise their right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Some of us take this right for granted. We shouldn't forget that it was denied to some people not so long ago. For large numbers of people in New Hampshire, this is where their days began and ended. It wasn't much of a life.
I would go up week after week and they'd just be laying there just vegetating in those beds.
Animals were given better care and better treatment. So there really was no, quality of life for most of the residents there. People were not treated as people. They were treated as, clearly, and this is absolutely no exaggeration, as subhuman.
There were people running around half naked, completely naked, feces and urine spread all over the place. And just as that scene ends, they're all gathered up and they go down to have lunch. There was the use of hidden persuader. The hidden persuader was a 8 or 9 inch hat pin that could be used on residents with a prick in order to encourage them to move along. And the beauty of it, according to the perpetrators of it, is that it left no marks.
John McIntosh is a lawyer in Concord, New Hampshire. He was just out of law school in 1977, working to help people in poverty, when he and colleague Dick Cohen were asked to compose a class-action lawsuit against the Laconia State School. It was New Hampshire's only large institution for people with developmental disabilities.
The Laconia State School and Training Center has been the state center for mental retardation since 1903. The resident population of the school at the beginning of this year was 1,156, including...
The legal limit for residents at the state school was 900. The facility was portrayed in 1969 on public television.
In addition to being severely overcrowded, the state school is grossly understaffed. In one building alone at the school, a building with 80 middle-level or severely retarded girls, there are generally only 3 attendants.
According to the lawsuit, conditions were barbaric. They violated every canon of human decency and dignity, including the constitutional right to be prepared for life in a typical community setting. One of the plaintiffs in the Laconia lawsuit was Frida Smith, whose daughter Janet was confined to the state school. Frida took care of her and 2 other children at home, but by the time Janet was 5, her round-the-clock needs caused Frida to collapse. Frida was hospitalized, and a county court committed Janet to the state school. Her mother visited her there weekly for 14 years.
They'd eat about 4 o'clock and have their pajamas on. They were in for the night. Potential. Stimulation. Stagnation. That's all it was. And Lord only knows what could have happened to a lot of the residents at the school, how far they could have progressed.
Janet had been walking when she entered Laconia, but after 5 years confined to her bed, she lost the ability to ever walk again. The families who sued for improvements at the state school won their case. A federal court ordered New Hampshire to establish services across the state to help people gain independence in their local communities. Today, there's a network of 12 regional service agencies. The last remaining residents of the state school were released in 1991, and the institution was shut down.
I'm still fighting to get an education, and get more computer training.
Jocelyn Gallant was released from the Laconia State School in 1979, where she'd been confined from age 4 to nearly 30.
When I was at Laconia State School, we never got an education, only certain ones got it. They said we would never learn anything because we were too mentally retarded. That wasn't true. Disabled people can learn as anyone else.
In Concord, New Hampshire, following her release, she was an eager student, learning through state-supported programs what the outside world was like. She learned to work a full-time job, to manage money, to make her own decisions. She chose to live alone and rented an apartment. We talked in 1988 about the place she'd left behind.
They used to give cold water baths and everything. Every time the clients act up, they used to give them cold water baths. They used to put them in a straitjacket, vest restraints, and tie them right to the bed and lead it to the chair.
Did that happen to you?
Oh, yes.
Did you wish you were living at home?
Oh, yes, at the time, yeah.
But there was no choice in the matter.
There was no choice in that back in those days.
There are a lot of choices these days. Salem, New Hampshire is a place Jocelyn's dreamed of living. She was first brought here when living in Laconia for weekend visits with a family. Last year, she made the move. She found herself a job, and now she's saving for a down payment on her first home.
I love that. I love coming here to see you, you know what?
See, over $2,000.
What?
Over $2,000.
Can I see it? That's the big one.
Yeah.
2022.
Yeah, well, you figure that's...
Jocelyn's making steady progress toward a down payment.
$55. So that's $180 more than what you had.
How about on the Christmas?
She asked Pat Freitas to help her with her banking each week at Citizens Bank.
The 744.
She knows the amount of money that she wants put in there every week, and then she adds additional on a monthly basis. So she is doing very well. And she, let's put it this way, she hasn't bounced a check, which is more than I can say for people that have a lot of education and a lot more money in their accounts.
To buy her home, Jocelyn has support from the agency which serves people with developmental disabilities in her region of the state, and from Home of Your Own, a project begun in New Hampshire. Sharon Drake provides guidance on planning and financing.
You should be. I'm just amazed at how much money you saved. You got 2 savings accounts, not just
No,
one.
that's a Christmas one.
Right, but you didn't use much for Christmas.
No, that goes into the next year. That starts in November to November.
And do you spend it all at Christmas?
No way, I'm saving. No way, because I want a house.
The money Jocelyn's saving will be matched twice by the state of New Hampshire and the Home of Your Own project.
We're giving control back to the individual here with a disability and providing them with some stability. There's no question that people are discriminated against, all across the country, and landlords are in that mix of discriminators.
When she moved to Salem, Jocelyn chose Dawn Galla at the Regional Service Agency to help her manage her affairs.
The way things are beginning to change and the happiness that I'm beginning to see in people who come through these doors, who all of a sudden can do things, that can make choices that they never were able to make before. I would have to say that they probably have wanted to do these things for many, many years.
On a Sunday in late winter, I take Jocelyn out for a drive. She shows me some spots in Salem where she'd like to live. She knows what she wants: a place with a deck, a clothesline, and a patch of earth to plant a garden.
Oh, see the point of it.
Makes you happy to look at those, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. I live here today.
It won't be long now till Jocelyn leaves rental housing behind and entertains her friends at her own place.
I know this song. Everybody, somebody. You remember that one?
Oh, yeah, it's a good song.
She finds friends no matter where she goes.
Well, thank you anyway. We shared some of the things.
Yes.
And I can smell that food downstairs cooking. I wonder what you're having tonight.
She came in the door, she goes, I smell something good.
What you having tonight?
Roast pork.
She's got a great support team, and I think for the first time ever, she's on really solid ground, because Jocelyn is going to have her own home one day. It's going to happen for her. It's going to happen for her, and it will be a great day in New Hampshire. It really will. She's a cool lady.
To meet Jocelyn is to witness the success of New Hampshire's community support system. The Quality Outcomes Project would like to know if that system is working just as well for others who use it. We're designing a method of collecting information statewide. We're asking if people are truly included in their communities, if they have genuine choices, and if young people growing up today can fulfill their potential.
I think that's really important, to be able to have your sense of self, to be able to have a sense of your own life, your own skills, something that you did on your own. And he can contribute. Working at Ames, he's doing a very good job of hanging clothes, making sure things look nice.
Trina Serecchia is part of a support team for Robbie Brindamore. He'll be done with high school soon. His passion is clothing. He's landed a job exactly where he wants.
This one, the tag should be in the back, so when you go to hang it up, it's going the right way, and you don't have to struggle with it.
Struggle is a part of Robbie's life. He has multiple disabilities. He has yet to conquer the world at large.
Okay. 999.
90.
8.
Okay, you got a 9.
9.
And you got a 9. Okay.
Trina coaches him on how to shop and manage his money. Each week, she helps him join friends for fun and exercise. This fills gaps Robbie had experienced at school.
There was a limit to what socializing you weren't capable of doing. He wasn't involved in the after-school activities, the dances, the games, any of that. They didn't have any sport program for him. Having him involved in this transitional service now has given him a life.
Sue Brindamore and her husband Bob are relieved. They have 2 boys to raise, and Robbie's future is a constant concern.
Well, I think in the last year he's matured immensely. Just the sheer fact that he's out of the school element, he's out in the workplace and out traveling around and doing things has just made all the difference in the world for him.
So tell me, how you doing?
Good.
Good?
He got to a point where what he was going to gain in the school curriculum had been obtained. They were kind of stagnated, and they just didn't know what to do with him.
You know, you could have the best high school program in the world, but if it didn't have that step after high school, out into the community and out into the job force, these kids were just going to be dropped at the end when the program finished, or when the summer came, or whatever. That was it. It was over. Their life, they were back watching TV at home again.
Sam Bruno helped Robbie prepare for the job market at New Hampshire's Seacoast School of Technology. Here, students with multiple disabilities are connected to local businesses. Robbie worked in a greenhouse, outdoors landscaping, caring for horses and cows. It helped Robbie discover his talents. High school teacher Nancy Taylor recalls a prize he won at a state fair.
Rob actually won some ribbons at the Rochester and Deerfield fairs in terms of what was the best thing you did?
Judge cows.
That's right, he was judging cows. You really got that down pat, didn't you?
Yeah.
What makes a good cow, Robbie?
Moo.
That's not the only thing.
What were the things you were looking for in a cow?
Horns.
All too often, students like Robbie are put on waiting lists. This disturbed Sharon Bargel, who began directing transition services in 1994 at the Seacoast Service Agency.
An awful lot was not happening for these young people. The job training that is offered to many young people through our vocational centers at the high schools was not being offered to the students that had special needs, especially students that had the level of disabilities that some of our students had.
Bargel collaborated with the Seacoast School of Technology and with job specialists to make sure that employment follows training for students like Robbie.
We had an excited student, we had an excited teacher, we had an excited family, we had people who wanted him to work. We had a lot of excited employers, but their number one concern is, I can't give the time that's needed to work. There's got to be somebody with this person.
On-the-job assistance is provided by Coastal Employment Alternatives. Director Roberta Stout says career counseling was critical for Robbie's success.
To find what Robbie's skills were, to talk with the team, with the family, with the teachers, and with Robbie especially, to learn what his skills were, what he wanted to do, and then try to find an employer who was willing to take the time and work with Robbie to hone those skills.
Well, I'll hold it, you peel. No, get your hand out of the way. Good. You cut yourself. Good. I don't know where we would be. I couldn't picture it without the help we get for Robbie.
Included in the help is respite care for Robbie when his parents need a break.
It causes great stress within a marriage, within the family interactions. Any normal family seeks respite with babysitters.
Maybe I'll move this chair.
But you can't always get, in situations like ours, people for that job.
I think you got it now. There you go.
Robbie will graduate from high school next year. The world beyond is not so daunting now.
He gets up, he looks forward to going to work. Before it was, push him out the door type thing, get him to the school or get him to this or that. And now he literally looks forward, I'm working today.
Hi.
Hi, how are you today?
Good.
Are you shopping?
Yeah.
Did you find what you wanted?
Yeah.
Oh, wow, that's a great shirt.
Yeah.
I see a huge change just in his behavior at home this year. The things that he does through the day, he seems satisfied when he comes home.
How you doing?
He's happy. He comes home and he doesn't bother me, he doesn't pester me, he doesn't complain. He feels like he's accomplished something and he feels good about himself. And I noticed that in just his being.
Hi! Hey there! This is too long a ride.
I know.
We came from Southampton. It's too long a ride.
Oh. You forgot for a minute.
No, we didn't forget you. It's just a long ride from Southampton.
No matter the weather, they come to your home. Their work is funded in part by federal and state dollars. They bring fun stuff for kids, the tools of their trade.
Stand up. In.
Up. Good. Up. That's right. Up.
Though he's 2 years old, Tyler isn't talking yet.
Keep going. Push.
It's too early to tell why he's delayed, but it's never too soon to assist a young child. Ellen Dollar is an occupational therapist.
It's just really important to give kids that sense of accomplishment and that sense of ability that I think we provide for them and provide for the families. I think one of the things that early intervention can do for families is to really help them continue to develop new visions for their kids.
Hey! Oh, look at that.
What do you
Look at
think?
that.
He's stretching
Look
it
at
out.
that nice back. Yeah, much better.
Bum, bum, bum.
His whole body needs work. Tyler lacks muscle strength and coordination, from his back and his limbs to his mouth and his tongue.
Up, 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 up.
A box full of beans, a chance to practice bee sounds. Speech therapist Amy Jundy tells Tyler's mother how to draw out the first sounds of speech.
Mama thinks he plays with balls and bears and blah, 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 blah. Or,
Okay.
Working at the table, blah, 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 beans or blah, blah, banana.
Okay.
Silly things like that.
Come on. Ma, 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 ma. Ma, 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 ma. Ma, ma, ma. Is that what she said to do, Tyler? Ma, 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 ma.
Unless you have a child, you don't really realize that this could happen. But when you have a child and you know how much this helps the child before they go to school, or what a difference.
Diane and George Haratunian have 5 children altogether. Tyler's older brothers have hearing impairments and learning disabilities. They, too, received services as toddlers. They're doing well in school today. So you're feeling pleased with the services you've received?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think it's the most wonderful service, that you can get for the kid. I mean, for someone to come to your house and work with your kid, and they come rain and snow and everything else, I mean, how can you beat that?
The Haratunian boys have an advantage. Their family is active in their community through volunteer work, like distributing Girl Scout cookies. In turn, their neighbors help them. Natural support like this is crucial and often overlooked.
When families come to you, they're not looking for family support. They want to fix the situation that they've come to you for.
Peggy Small-Porter directs the Richie McFarland Children's Center, the agency which provides early supports and services on New Hampshire's seacoast.
Until you meet their child's needs, or they view that you are meeting their child's needs, they're not going to pay attention to their own needs. It's just the way it seems to work in most instances.
Parents meet in local community centers to gain support and knowledge. Counselor Elaine Lagasse.
We really
look at the whole family and the primary caregiver, which is usually the mom who I deal with. And I think if we can give them the support that they need, then they're able to give their child the support that they need. Current research suggests that families do gain significant strength from early support programs. Whether their children go on to improve performance in school is still being studied.
That's a really important piece of the puzzle, teasing out what is going to help these kids to have quality of life when they get older. How does this translate down the road? And are we putting our funding in the places that are going to make a difference for these kids and families?
Bye-bye, Tyler. Yeah, bye-bye. Camera.
Bye. Can you say bye yet?
To spend our tax dollars wisely, we need to know if people are really getting results from the support they receive. It was much easier to keep track when everyone lived in one place in Laconia. But now, with people spread over 12 regions of the state and the services different in each, we need a new way to keep track of quality.
Hi.
How are you?
Yeah.
Can I come in?
Yeah.
If you want to know how
Okay.
someone's doing, it's important to see them at home. In New Hampshire, people with developmental disabilities are being surveyed about their lives.
Do you choose your daily and weekly schedule, like when you want to eat, when you want to get up, when you want to do laundry, clean the house?
Yeah.
Do you choose that for yourself?
Yeah.
Do you choose it with help, or do you do it?
Yeah.
An annual survey of consumers across the state began in 1995. The Federal Health Care Financing Agency had requested that New Hampshire keep a closer eye on quality. Bob James, head of the Seacoast Service Agency, directs the Quality Outcomes Project. He wants to make sure that survey results are published and available to the public on a regular basis.
In a sense, this will be a kind of a report card for the service system. Areas like employment, integration into the community, health issues, a whole variety, and it will immediately draw our attention, and other people's attention too, to where we're doing well, where we can get a good pat on the back, and where we really need to look at.
Typically, the state awards contracts to regional agencies based on how many people are served for how many days. A report card on the outcomes of that service will change the way business is done, says Sue Fox, director of the State Division of Developmental Services.
People are going to contract for a certain amount of dollars in order to serve a certain amount of people, but we're going to really care much more about what were the outcomes of those services for people. It won't be that you provided a day of service, it's what did somebody get in that day of service? In what way are their lives better today because of the services that they got?
The district offices, DCYF.
A regular report on outcomes will benefit consumers, according to Jan Nisbet, director of the Institute on Disability at the University of New Hampshire.
I think it's going to be exciting and important for families and people with disabilities to be able to pick up this set of outcomes and say, oh, now I get it. Not only are these outcomes designed to look at how the state's performing, how the area agency system is performing, but now we have something where people can say, well, the state is supposed to be, or the area agency system is supposed to be, helping me get better housing, helping me get better jobs, helping me be better connected to the community.
The Outcomes Project follows an old New Hampshire tradition to work from the local level up. Its advisory board includes caregivers, legal experts, people with disabilities, and family members like Dan Looney.
And we want to be sure we get the answers correctly the first time. Do the best you can, but you really...
Elsewhere, efforts to measure quality are made by state workers alone. Bringing all interested parties to the table is unique to New Hampshire. The project is democratic, with the focus on consumers and families.
This project shows New Hampshire's concern to be responsible. I think the question is, are we recognizing that the things that people with disabilities want are are exactly the things we want.
Val Bradley is president of the Human Services Research Institute in Cambridge, Massachusetts. As a partner to the Quality Outcomes Project, it contributes nationally recognized expertise. They've advised New Hampshire to publish a combination of data on outcomes for people and how stable their providers are.
There may be some cracks in the system that are beginning to open up, that though they don't at the moment affect your provider, could, if they continue, undermine the stability, the effectiveness of the organization that's providing your services. So I guess it really is suggesting to people that if they're going to stay on top of how well this system is supporting their family member or themselves, these larger issues also affect them.
That's why I'm serving on the Transportation Committee, and we're going to fight it till the end. Good job.
The Quality Outcomes Project is designing a way to collect information every year from people with developmental disabilities and from their families and friends. This will be combined with information from the agencies which serve them and from their employers. Over the years, you should be able to pick up a report card which will give you a sense of where folks are headed, what kind of job the agencies are doing, and whether all New Hampshire citizens are taking part in the pursuit of happiness. Janet Smith has always been fed by others. Today, at age 36, she's learning to feed herself. No one thought to teach her during her 14 years at the state school.
If we had the services in the community back then that we have now, Janet would never have gone to Laconia. The services we have in the community now, they're tailor-made, they're designed for each individual according to their needs. It's great. New Hampshire has done themselves proud. They've done it right.
While proud of the progress made here, New Hampshire leaders say a lot more needs to be done.
We still haven't been able to erase the past, and in so many ways I think we're still kind of marching backwards out of the institutions.
Don Shumway led the change in New Hampshire from institutional to community living when he directed the Division of Developmental Services in the 1980s and early 90s. He's now a leader in the national movement for self-determination for people with developmental disabilities. 15 years of community life in New Hampshire have demonstrated this, that leaving the institution was just the start of a very long quest.
To understand what people want and need, one has to ask them, one has to work with them, sometimes for a very long period of time, to learn how to listen to them, to learn how they express their wishes, and to give them the chance to learn about and to experience their choices in such a way that they can really tell you what works for them. This is something that around the country we're just beginning to learn.
People like to see and hear fun, happiness, acceptance. And the way you get accepted in the community is when you start accepting yourself. Because when you accept yourself for who and what you are, you can go out in the community, you can go to the store, you can go to the library, you can go to a restaurant and feel comfortable. It's incredible, it's awesome. When you start feeling good inside, there's a whole world out there you never saw before.